My name is James Burns. I'm a director and producer. The idea and goal for the Solitary project is to voluntarily subject myself to 30 days of isolation in a real facility in La Paz County, Arizona. What we're going to do is we're going to rig the cell in which I'll be staying with multiple cameras, and it will tie into a live stream where people will be able to access the solitary confinement cell in which I'll be living 24 hours, 7 days a week. The medium of live stream is so important because it allows people to access what's going on in real time. When I was 14, I was offered a sentencing deal of 16 to 32 years. I clicked with the wrong crowd, and we would commit armed robberies. And by the time I was 14, I was caught for those robberies, and I ended up getting charged as an adult and sentenced to 12 years in prison, where I ended up serving 4 years in and out of juvenile and adult facilities. Growing up, it was really difficult. Very rough. My father was a gangbanger. My mom used a lot of drugs and sold drugs. During my incarceration, I served multiple stints in and out of solitary confinement, one of which being 11 months. And that ended up being one of the most painful experiences that I've had to endure as a young man. The general public, for the most part, doesn't know what solitary confinement is. And if they've heard of it, there's a huge misconception on the general public's end about why and how it's used. People feel like only the most violent people are kept in isolation. That's not true. Many people are in there for minor infractions, such as having an extra roll of toilet paper, looking at a corrections officer the wrong way, advocating for yourself too much, maybe getting into a fist fight or an altercation. I used to punch the walls until my knuckles bleed, until my hands were swollen, because I was beginning to lose the sense of feeling. And sometimes I'd cover my cell window, and the corrections officers would come in with a SWAT team, and they'd spray me with mace and extract me from the cell, and we'd fight, and oftentimes that felt better to me than having no human contact at all, because that's how desperate you are. When I got out of prison, I was very fortunate because my mother had cleaned up from using drugs and she wanted to be a part of my life. A lot of guys don't have family or friends or any type of support system to help them when they're released. The difference between me and the 80,000 inmates across America in solitary confinement is that I can leave at any point that I want. And I'll be having someone check in on me every day to see if I want to make that move, to see if I, want to jump ship. So I do feel safe. I feel like this has been thought out very well, and we have contingency plans put together in case things go wrong. For those who might question the project, I welcome all criticism and feedback. I want people to know, though, that this is meant to disrupt the system and shake people up. As a society, we need to ask ourselves, is that okay? Can we continue to do this and be fine with that? And it's not necessarily about me being heard, it's for the 80,000 inmates in America who are languishing in solitary confinement who are not being heard. I'm very passionate about the criminal justice system, and I just think that we need to have a conversation about how and why we're using solitary confinement.